sensitivity is going to be a little bit, so you have to be right. Right, moaning to you. Right, but I'm glad that he did it because, you know, I don't know what I don't know, so I'm beyond thankful when he does that. So yes, so just a warning about it. Okay, thank you.
I don't even want to be.
These?
Yes, so the sound, they're a little bit more sensitive.
It's despicable.
Yeah.
You don't have to be as much right on top of it.
Okay.
So just so you know.
Or if you don't like
Cool.
Hopefully that helps.
Oh, that, yeah, you can hear me just from here. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes,
Oh, wait, no, look. Here, put it
it's
here.
there. Okay,
I'm sorry.
perfect.
With your font.
We are ready to go. Waiting
Where's-
for Ann.
Oh,
Here she comes.
Hey, Sean.
Ready.
Hello. How you doing? Oh, thank you. How are you? Good.
Everyone is here? All right. We do have new microphones. I would like to call the Monday, August 2, 2021 Oakwood City Council meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me with the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please, Lori?
Mayor Duncan,
Here.
Vice Mayor Byington,
Here.
Mr. Stevens,
Here.
Mrs. Hilton,
Here.
Mrs. Turbin.
Here.
And do we have a report on the minutes of our July 19 regular session and work session? Councilmember Hilton.
Yes, Your Honor, I've reviewed the minutes from both of those meetings, and I found them to be correct and complete, and therefore I move that they be adopted as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, so ordered. Under status reports, we have two status reports. Whereas this year, approximately 192,000 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the United States alone, and roughly 33,000 will die this year from the disease. And whereas in Ohio, an estimated 9,000 new cases of prostate cancer and an estimated 2,000 deaths will occur in 2021. Whereas men with relatives, father, brother, son, with a history of prostate cancer are twice as likely to develop the disease. Whereas prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed form of cancer in American men and the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths. Whereas veterans who are exposed to chemicals and herbicides are at an increased risk for developing prostate cancer. Whereas 1 in 9 American men are diagnosed with prostate cancer, African American men are at the highest risk of the disease and 2.2 times more likely to die from prostate cancer. Whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies is critical to saving lives and preserving and protecting families. And whereas over 3 million men in the United States are living with prostate cancer, and that number is estimated to reach 4 million by 2024. Whereas all men are at risk for prostate cancer, and we encourage the citizens of Oakwood to recognize the importance of prostate screenings. Under the power vested in me, William D. Duncan, Mayor of the City of Oakwood, hereby proclaim September 2021 as Prostate Cancer Awareness and Education Month in Oakwood. This is particularly important to me because my father is currently seriously ill with prostate cancer, and as you know, We lost former council member Stan Castleman to prostate cancer. So I would encourage everyone to take these warnings seriously and get screened. Thank you. Councilmember Stevens has an additional proclamation that he would like to read.
Thank you, Mayor Duncan. Yeah, I'd like to read this in honor of a old friend of mine, a teacher and a mentor that I had as I was growing up here in Oakwood. There's going to be a special event at the end of this month up at the high school, and we thought it'd be relevant to honor him for all he did throughout the city via the school district. He touched so many lives. Whereas Howard Sales joined the Oakwood City School District in 1965 as a junior high and high school teacher of social studies, health, and physical education. And whereas Mr. Sales proudly served as a teacher, coach, and athletic director at Oakwood Junior High and High School from 1965 to 1995. He was head football coach from 1968 to 1986, winning more games than any other football coach in Oakwood's history. And whereas after retiring from Oakwood, Mr. Sales continued to positively influence the lives of countless students by serving as president of the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association in 1992, coaching football at the University of Dayton from 1995 to 2005, and assistant coaching football at Oakwood High School in 2006. And whereas Coach Sales was honored by being inducted into the Ohio High School Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, 1994, the Sam Andrews Hall of Fame in 1998, the Oakwood Athletic Hall of Fame in 2009, and the Miami Valley Football Coaches Association in 2014. And whereas on the occasion of Mr. Sales' recent passing, it is appropriate to honor him for his many years of outstanding service to the Oakwood community, especially to our school children. Now therefore, under the power vested in me, I hereby posthumously recognize Howard Sales and extend our deepest gratitude to an honorable public servant.
Thank you. We do have a special visitor tonight, and I believe we also have at least one person who has dialed in via Zoom. Is that correct? Can we tell that for sure? Okay. Okay. And I would now like to introduce Chris Connard and Sean Roberts. I believe you, Rob's going to speak. I'll introduce Rob Jacks first, and then we will see our illustrious visitors. Thank you. Rob, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Duncan. I'm here tonight to talk about the Oakwood Teen Court, which is something we don't get an opportunity to talk about real often. But I always enjoy the subject when it comes up because it's a really neat program that we have here in the city that I think a lot of our residents would enjoy hearing about. The Oakwood Teen Court is an opt-in pretrial diversion program for juveniles. It's a program that we've operated for decades. It's actually, the program's older than I am. It was around when I was in high school here in Oakwood. But in 2014, we expanded the program a little bit and got it recognized by the Montgomery County Juvenile Court as an official satellite program of the Montgomery County Juvenile Court. And we've operated it that way ever since. The most significant change we made at that point was that a program that had previously existed for Oakwood residents was then opened up to any juveniles who might commit an eligible offense and benefit from a program like this. Teen Court's a peer panel. It's supervised by a teen court advisor. And when I say peer panel, I mean that the judges are high school age kids. They are juveniles just like the people appearing before them. The program has no budget, $0. It's entirely volunteer driven, including the teen court advisor, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Typically, the teen court will see 30 to as many as 40 cases in a year, although you can imagine that during COVID that number has dropped off quite a bit because we had fewer people out and about, fewer people being arrested or cited for different offenses. The benefits of this program are really that it creates a positive experience for the panel members and also for the participants in the diversion program. For those participants, the offenders, they have the benefit of having a case handled without an official record. They don't have to hire an attorney. They don't have to take off school to go down to the Montgomery County Juvenile Court. It's done on a Saturday. And when the case is over, as I said, there's no official record of it. For the teen court judges, they get the opportunity to perform some volunteer work. They're introduced to civic work, courts, ideas of the law, and concepts like justice and deterrence. And the teen court advisor works with them on those things. Eligible offenses for teen court, if a juvenile happens to commit one of these, they would be eligible. It would would include traffic and pedestrian offenses, jaywalking, stop signs, speeding tickets, things like that. Misdemeanor criminal offenses such as underage drinking, criminal damaging, vandalism. There are certain things that are not eligible, though, including some of these misdemeanor criminal offenses. We don't allow any alcohol or drug-related traffic offenses to go to teen court. We don't allow any crimes of violence whatsoever to go to teen court, and any felony would also not go to teen court. Those would be automatically referred to the Montgomery County Juvenile Court. But for any of these other eligible offenses, an offender has the opportunity to opt in to teen court. The goals of the program are to come up with constructive sanctions that fit the nature of the offense, and also to give youthful offenders sort of that one bite at the apple to maybe straighten up and go the right way instead of heading down a bad path. The Montgomery County Juvenile Court encourages the panel to be creative and innovative with their sanctions, and typically those sanctions might include anything from a warning to, we don't call them fines, maybe a donation to the DARE program or a charitable organization, an unofficial suspension of someone's driver's license. They may be asked to write essays. They may be directed to perform some community service. Those are the kinds of sanctions that we often see. The Safety Department does all of the initial charging, the eligibility screening. They determine if the case gets sent to the juvenile court or to the teen court program. And then those are handed off to the teen court if they're teen court eligible. At that point, the teen court advisor takes over, and the teen court advisor's job is to run the teen court program. That's the individual hearings that happen on a bi-monthly basis. We do hearings on the second Saturday of the month, and that's September through May. It doesn't include the summer months while the kids are on their break. But September through May, every other month on a Saturday morning, we have these hearings. Teen court advisor runs those hearings, and then also in the fall of each year selects the teen court panel, the judges, from interested Oakwood High School students who may apply. And they work with the guidance department in doing that. And then the teen court advisor also does case tracking, fills out the paperwork that needs to be filled out and sent to the juvenile court when the case is over, and serves as an advisory capacity with the panel. The two gentlemen that are here tonight, first I'll introduce is Sean Roberts. He's sitting behind me here. You have all met him before. He's been our Oakwood Teen Court advisor since, we think, 1999, 22 years in that role that he has been volunteering and helping out the community of Oakwood. And I've asked him to be here tonight. He is stepping down. He's been doing this for a while and ready to hand the baton off to the next individual. But I'd like to ask Sean to just come up, to be recognized by council.
Welcome.
This is Mr. Roberts.
You have the floor.
Well, thanks very much. When I started this, I think Jeff Cox was an associate with me at a law firm with Charlie Faruqi back in the day, and Tom Talbot Jr. kind of like passed the baton to me. My oldest, Graham, was 7, Noah was 5, and Patrick was 3, I believe. Well, now Graham's a doctor. Noah's an engineer. He's serving in South Korea with the Navy, and Patrick's got his degree in computers, and he's in downtown Chicago on Wacker. And what occurred to me today is that the judges on that court in 1999 are now older than I was when I took over as teen court advisor. And I just want to thank all of the city of Oakwood for their participation with this. It's a tremendous, and as Rob was saying, kind of quiet little institution that does a great job with no budget, just volunteer work from everybody involved. The police department is incredible. I want to thank all of the chiefs of police that have worked during my tenure. We've had great participation. Jay Weiskutcher has helped out a lot. Jennifer, who I see tonight, helped out with the community service role for the offenders. I certainly want to thank Rob and just everybody that has been involved in the department. It's been my privilege. Many of you know my dad, who's passed away, used to say that, you do some civic work, some volunteer work, and you kind of throw that pebble out in that pond, and you see how it spreads out and how many people it's going to impact. And through Oakwood Teen Court, I think it has had a chance to impact some people. And I always think, Rob's talking about coaches, and there's been mentors and scouts and, teachers and all that, that you always think as a teacher or an advisor, you're going to actually impart more knowledge than you gain. And with the teen court, it's just the other way around. So I hope Chris will enjoy that part of it, because you learn so much more from these bright young kids. So it's been a great experience. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and thank you so much for your volunteer service to the city. It's just one more reason why this is the best community in the state of Ohio to live in. So,
You're here.
yes, we absolutely
Thank you, Sean.
appreciate your.
Thank you.
Very much.
All right, and behind me on my left is Chris Conard, who is going to be stepping into this position. We're fortunate here in Oakwood to have a number of attorneys and judges that live among us, and they're willing to volunteer and help out. Chris has said yes, if you'd like to come on up here. Chris is going to take over the teen court from here on out.
Welcome, Chris.
Next 22 years, right?
Well, that was exactly what I was going to start with. Don't count on that. Thanks, Sean. I've been practicing law for 30 years. I started as a public defender representing kids in juvenile court because that's where they put you. And one of the things that is nice about juvenile court is that it's an opportunity for civics, because we still do teach civics. Not many people understand how they work in the real world anymore, but it's an opportunity to merge what the classroom teaches them in the high school and then see how it works in the real world, because due process still exists, rights still exist. There's a process that needs to go on. So it's a great foundation for young people to see how that interplay goes on and sets the stage for their own life experiences. And as Sean has indicated, I mean, our own Chris Epley became a lawyer because of teen court. And he talks about how influential that experience was for him. So I'm honored to serve the citizens of Oakwood. I'm flattered that Rob gave me a call. I met with Norb and looking forward to the opportunity to working with the young men and women. The other thing to keep in mind, and people don't always remember this either, but the mantra of juvenile court is to do what's in the best interest of the child. And teen court is in keeping with that principle of law that's been in existence forever. People make mistakes. The standard of care isn't perfection. We're not perfect. Children make mistakes growing up, and the goal is to not have that mistake follow them for the rest of their lives. And so teen court's a perfect example and model, and why these satellite courts exist throughout the county. And once again, it's another tribute to Montgomery County and places like Oakwood being the cutting edge on innovative thought and ideas. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you,
you,
Chris.
Thank you.
We look forward to working
Thank
with
you,
you.
Chris.
Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes your presentation? All right. Does the person who called in on Zoom wish to address council, or they just wanted to observe? Do we know the answer to that?
Good evening. I'm just observing.
Welcome. Can you identify yourself for the citizens at home, watching at home?
Sure. John Hemmer from AES Ohio.
Our AES rep.
Oh, it's AES, okay. But I thought we had two. No? Okay. Welcome.
Oh, there's John.
Now we see you, okay. Do we have any issues with AES today? Okay, well, congratulations.
Good day.
Okay, well, again, welcome. We appreciate you sitting in on our meeting, and that will then conclude the visitor portion of our meeting. And so we will, I'm sorry, there's a lot of reverb on these new microphones, but we'll go to legislation, and Mr. Stevens has a resolution.
Thank you, Mayor Duncan. A resolution to authorize and direct the Director of Finance to certify certain delinquent charges for cutting noxious weeds and nuisance plant material to the county auditor for collection. Each year, the city incurs costs for mowing and clearing overgrown yards and removing nuisance plant material when owners do not take care of their property. The city bills property owners for those costs, and most of them pay. For those that do not pay, this is our annual resolution to certify the costs to the county auditor so they can be added to the tax bill for each property. This certification includes 8 properties at a total outstanding dollar of $11,608.68. I move that council adopt this resolution.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments for Councilmember Stevens? Hearing none. Lori, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Duncan?
Yes?
Vice Mayor Byington?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Hilton?
Yes.
Mrs. Turbin?
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes our legislation. We do have a very interesting staff report from Jennifer Wilder, our Personnel and Properties Director. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. I do have a brief update on the activities of the Personnel and Properties Departments. Tonight, I will discuss our annual property maintenance tour. I'll give a quick update on development and construction in our business districts, and I have an announcement about our annual shred day, and then a brief update on some retirements and some new hires in the personnel department. So first, as I have discussed in a previous council update, the pandemic required us to change a very common annual procedure that we have, our annual code enforcement citywide inspection that we do via automobile tour. We did waive the inspection in 2020 and instead opted to only address significant violations last year. So we did resume the annual practice this year. Our property maintenance automobile tour started in May and concluded the first week of July. To date, 147 letters have been sent out to communicate with property owners. A little bit about our automobile tour. It's conducted by myself and Ethan Kroger, our code enforcement officer, and really it's just an opportunity for us to put eyeballs on every property. We drive up and down both sides of the street to look at look for property maintenance violations that might have an effect on local property values. So we start by reaching out to the property owner with a letter, advising them that we've noticed a concern and giving a reasonable time frame to comply, and also including information that we're aware some of them may already know and may have already been making preparations to make repairs, or attention to the other items that we brought to them, and can address that, and we get that all squared away at the beginning. Others will call and say, oh, you know, I was planning to do this later this summer. Great, we'll extend the deadline. We appreciate them reaching out. And then if we don't hear back from anybody, we do check for compliance. Sometimes people just take care of it and don't let us know. And then if there isn't compliance, we will follow back up with another letter with another deadline. But one thing that I want to stress throughout this is that we encourage communication, and we ask for property owners that receive our letters to reach out to us and just let us know, because again, our goal is compliance and not to pursue anything in court if we don't have to. We're just looking to protect the property values of those specific properties and those around them. So of those 147 letters that we sent out this year, our two most common items that we run into are trees, and I'll talk about trees here more in a moment, and chipping and peeling paint. And again, some residents will contact us right away, say, oh, you know, I have a painting company coming in July. Excellent, that's great. You know, we'll follow back up with you later. Some will say, I need an extension because I can only afford to do so much this summer, and I'm going to do say I'm going to do my house this summer, I'm going to do my garage or my accessory structure next summer. Great, we'll put you on the calendar and we'll follow back up. Because again, our goal is compliance and protection of property values. Now back to those trees and why we care about them during our automobile tour. The property maintenance code has a specific section that deals with diseased and dead trees. And basically, if a tree constitutes a safety hazard because of its proximity to the right-of-way, a building or a structure, or to persons who are using any nearby premises, then the code authorizes the code enforcement officer to order it to be removed at the expense of the owner. And we are very familiar with the dangers that trees cause to our community. We are a Tree City, USA city, so we also respect what trees mean to our community. But because we want to protect the right-of-way, streets and sidewalks from trees falling or limbs falling into it, vehicles that are parked up and down our streets. And when I say building and structures, I think of things like garages and porches, because these are the calls that we will get. Oh, a large tree branch fell and damaged my car. What do I do? I talk to our public works foreman, and a lot of the calls they receive after hours are, oh, we have a tree branch down and it's blocking a sidewalk or it's blocking an intersection. So if we can stay ahead of that with our property maintenance tour by recognizing where we have dead limbs that could potentially fall into those areas or fall onto a house or a neighboring property or a car, then we like to advise them of that. So as I discussed, we do try to be flexible with our with our deadlines for compliance, because we understand that tree trimming can be expensive or tree removal can be very expensive. However, it is part of the property that is purchased and taken on by the property owner. So again, we like to work with residents to bring those into compliance. We're sensitive to the budget costs, but we are very flexible in dealing with it, with the tree concerns. So I would encourage anyone who has received communication from our department to contact Ethan Kroger or myself to discuss the letter and work with us on a compliance date. Now for both of these business district updates are not unfamiliar to council. However, I wanted the opportunity to share these with the public tonight. If they haven't been down Park Avenue this summer, Jessup Wealth Management has embarked on an interior and exterior renovation of their building here on Park Avenue. Renovations are expected to be completed later this summer, and pictured here is a rendering of the front of the building. And then in June, the Planning Commission heard a request from Ms. Natalie Dunlevy of National Processing Solutions, a company that is currently located in the Sugar Camp office buildings, to amend the Sugar Camp Master Plan to change the gatehouse, pictured here, at 10 Sugar Camp Circle from delicatessen use to professional office business use. The original Sugar Camp Master Plan was approved back in April of 2007, and as you recall, several times before you, it has been amended, sometimes to accommodate market demands, sometimes to shift location of approved uses within the development. The gatehouse itself has been vacant since before the original master plan approval, and so far no one had stepped forward with the plan to operate it as a deli or as any other type of food service establishment. And over the years, we've heard different ideas floated, but nothing concrete, and the master plan had never been amended with regards to the gatehouse. So Ms. Dunlevy, she has invested in the gatehouse, has restored the building, and is making several overdue repairs. Her landscaping that she proposed is compatible with the surrounding Sugar Camp development, and the only difference, other than improvement in the look, that residents may notice is a small 10.5 square foot wall sign that will be added to the front of the building as pictured here. And as you recall, the City Council heard this request at their July meeting and approved the change of use from delicatessen to professional office use. I have an announcement for our annual Community Shred Day. It'll be held on Saturday, September 25th, from 8 to 11 a.m. It's held at our Public Works Center, which is located at 210 Schaefer Boulevard. And as we conducted it last year, document destruction will be on site and vehicles will enter from the east garage door into the bays where Shred It, our contractor, will be on site to destroy any documents presented. We will ask again this year that folks remain in their vehicle, but they place all of their documents they'd like to be shredded into their trunk, and Public Works employees will assist residents by removing those documents, putting them in the Shred It bins, and again, those documents are destroyed on site. A reminder that this is an Oakwood resident-only event, and so we encourage everyone to be prepared to show identification to take advantage of this service. So again, that's Saturday, September 25th, from 8 to 11 a.m. at our Public Works Center. Lastly, just a few personnel updates. Steve Alston, a maintenance worker in our Public Works Department, who most recently worked on the city's yard debris crew, retired in April after 33 years of service to the city of Oakwood. Also in April, we welcomed new water plant superintendent and water and sewer foreman Scott Loper. And just today, we had 2 new folks join our team. Chris Kuzma was appointed as the city's staff engineer, and Corey Edwards begins his career in Oakwood as a general service worker on our refuse team. That concludes the updates of the personnel and properties departments. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you tonight.
Any questions for Jennifer? Yes.
I do. Regarding Shred Day, are there any requirements for when we bring up the documents to be shredded? I mean, do you have to take all the staples out or?
They will
Nothing.
accept staples, binder clips, they accept microfiche, DVDs, cases,
Great.
all of that.
Okay, thank you.
I remember doing that in my former office, and I got a certificate saying that we saved 25 trees. We had a lot of shred material.
Guess so.
All right. Any other questions for Jennifer? All right. Well, thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
your
you.
report. We appreciate you coming tonight.
Thank you.
So last month, we had a special thing on our agenda called an Oakwood Moment, And we have another one of those this month. Are you doing that, Jennifer, as well?
I am.
All right.
I will start that. Should be all shared and ready to go.
All right, I guess that's me.
That is you, Councilmember.
All right. Yes, I get to do the Oakwood moment. This is a series of moments, really over the past year. The University of Dayton has something called the New Horizons Band, which is, it's actually a nationwide organization. It's basically a band for seniors, senior defined as, you know, if you have time and if you're maybe over 50 or whatever, but they don't check ID. But it's people who have played an instrument or want to play an instrument. You know, maybe they played the clarinet when they were 8 and then they gave it up. But anyway, it's a very big band, but there's a subset. There are many of the band members in Oakwood, and a group of them during lockdown last year got together, 4 of them. They were called a quartet, and started playing weekly at Schaefer and Dixon, and members got added. There are now 12 who play regularly. They've appeared on Schaefer and Dixon, at the Wright Library grand opening, Oakwood High School's parade, the graduation parade, and there's a Carillon Park concert or 2 in the works for August and October, I think. They play American folk songs, patriotic, classical and jazz, marches, and soon to be showcased, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. That's a moment coming up. Mr. Byington's aware of the Clodbusters, involved with the Clodbusters, so that'll be coming up. And they have instruments, and they are the saxophone, the trombone, tuba, trumpet, French horn, bass drum, snare drum, clarinet, flute, and euphonium. So some of these pictures are from some of their concerts, gigs, they call them. And one of them has music. That's the moment.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anybody special in that group that you're aware of that belongs to this group?
They're all special.
They're all special.
Of course, you know my dad would answer.
It was a rhetorical question. Yes, all right. Well, thank you, Councilmember Hilton. That was very special. And this is sort of a cool little thing that we're doing. So, all right. All right, it's now time to go to our city manager report. Mr. Klopsch.
Your Honor, just a few quick things. Hard to believe we're just 5 weeks out from closing Gardner Pool, but that's in fact the case. Sad for the swimmers, good news for the dogs, because the Sunday after the closure on that Labor Day Monday is the dog splash, and we're planning to do it again this year and hope for a great event. But kudos to Carol and her staff for, again, operating the pool and doing a fine job with that. For those who drive around our community, which I know is many of our citizens, over the past couple weeks, they've seen a lot of construction work, primarily roadway construction, and we've been embarking on the annual asphalt resurfacing project, and that wrapped up just last week, last Friday, and some roadway striping was done, and we're very pleased with the work done on Patterson Road, Ridgewood, Skank, Runnymede Lane, and Sweetwood. A real nice improvement to each of those streets. The Schaefer Park tennis facility has been under construction or reconstruction over the past 8 to 10 weeks, and that work is now completed, and the locks should have been taken off today, so I believe that the courts are now open again for play, and just on time for the Oakwood High School tennis team. We're appreciative of the contractor for doing that rebuild, all under warranty. We also recently have completed the roadway restriping work, which takes place in numerous areas around town, most importantly around the schools in terms of crosswalks and some yellow curbs that we paint. That's all done in advance of the start of school. And you'll recall that we did not do an annual sidewalk curb and apron project this year due to financial concerns that we had a year ago. And so that's one construction project we didn't have to worry about. It would have been done on the west side of Oakwood, west of Far Hills, and that will be done next year, and we'll pick it back up again on doing essentially a quarter of Oakwood each year on a rotating cycle. And finally, Jennifer mentioned some new employees. Regrettably, due to the COVID pandemic, we last year, essentially for the past over a year, we've been unable to recognize retiring employees. But as each one walked out the door, we told them that we're going to call them back when we can and have an event to recognize them. So we're going to do it this Friday. We have box lunches set up. We're going to do it at Schaefer Park, an entirely outdoor event. Roughly probably half or so of our employees typically attend what is an annual summer picnic. This year we're going to combine that picnic again with the employee recognition, as well as recognizing the new employees that attend. So if folks see some people at Schaefer Park on Friday beginning at noon, why that's a group of our city employees that we want to recognize. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for our city manager? All right. It is now time for council comments. Councilmember Turbin.
Well, just very briefly, at the last council meeting, I mentioned this mysterious disease that's affecting our birds, and so today I reached out to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for an update, and sadly, they don't have one. They know what it isn't, but they don't know what is killing it, so they continue to ask us to use precaution and take your feeders down, so more to follow.
All right, thank you. I know my wife's taking our feeders down.
Yeah.
I miss looking at her
I
birds.
do too.
My birds, her birds.
Yeah.
Councilmember Hilton.
No comments, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Stevens.
Just a couple quick things. I'd like to invite everyone to the annual ice cream social on Sunday, August 22nd at Schaefer Park from 4 to 7. Always a fun event. We look forward to seeing a lot of people. And with that event happening that day, that means school is not far away, which means a few days later on, I believe it is this year on Wednesday, August 25th, school will be starting. So all I do is ask each and every one of our licensed drivers in the city of Oakwood to obey our traffic laws and be careful due to the obvious fact that we are a walking community. I mean, obviously you should drive safely all the time, but now our kids will be going back to school, and we want everyone to be safe. So school's starting, so I always say within the insurance industry, when someone gets worked up about a ticket and they don't know how to deal with their speeding ticket, my simple advice is just leave earlier, drive slower. That's all there is to it. So good luck to all the students in the Oakwood School District this year, to the teachers as well, and have a fabulous school year.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Byington.
No comments.
And I also have no comments. Our next meeting will be on Monday, September 20, 2021. We are adjourned.